This is DeFi 250, and today I'm going to be talking about some of my successes and also some of the mistakes I made and what I learned from them when I played in the Pokemon Go Radio League Jungle Cup Tournament. My first round match is up against Papa Narwhals, one of the hosts of Pokemon Go Radio. Now, my first match, I decided not to use Forretress, but I know I'm definitely going to be using it no matter what in the second round. I switch out, I bring in Vigoroth, and Vigoroth comes in, and we have a Vigoroth mirror match. I decide to shield. I want to keep my Vigoroth alive. I notice that Vigoroth is using Brick Break, definitely not the move that I would use. Body Slam definitely does better damage overall. I get in one more Body Slam. Manectric goes down. In comes the bee. Neither of us have any shields left at this point. He gets his Sludge Bomb in first, and then I get the Sky Attack off, and Sky Attack is super effective damage, and the bee goes down. Here I am super excited to bring in Forretress. Gnar hates Forretress. He thinks it's an awful Pokemon, so I'm excited to bring it in as my lead. And I start just chunking away at his electric dog. I decide to shield. I'm glad I do because that thing has Flame Burst. And I'm just gonna farm. I'm gonna burn both my shields right away. I commit and just farm this thing down. So at this point, I built up a ton of energy, and I just do one heavy slam, and then I bring my Vigoroth in for the mirror match. And then Gnar has to look that Forretress in the face at the end of that second round as I beat Gnar 0-2. Next match is up against Ecology. I decide to bring my Noctowl, my Vigoroth, and then my Lantern as well. I lead off Noctowl, he brings in the bee and switches out immediately for Vigoroth, and I do the same, bring in the mirror match. I get to Body Slam first. And then I shield this Body Slam coming in. And I decide to shield again. Now both of our shields are down. So this Body Slam comes through, knocks out my Vigoroth, and then I bring in Noctowl, which knocks out his Vigoroth. And then his Noctowl comes in. I switch out to Lantern, and then he brings the bee back. The bee goes down, Noctowl comes back in with a Sky Attack, not very effective. And then I just keep bringing in those water guns. I use a charge move just to make sure I end the round. Round 2, I bring the same Pokemon. but he switches up his flow. He brings in Vigoroth. I switch in to my own. And then he's got a Venusaur. I do a Body Slam, which he does not shield. I decide to shield the Frenzy Plant so I can get one more Body Slam off, which he does shield this time. I do not get to the next Body Slam. I bring in Noctowl. And then Lanturn can come in. He switches back out to Vigoroth. I get Thunderbolt, but then Graveler comes in with a Stone Edge. Here's where I could have possibly done a few more fast attacks, maybe built up to a Psychic, and that might have done enough damage to knock out Graveler. Or I could have played my switches out a little differently, and that could have maybe won the round for me. Who knows? This time around, I choose Lanturn as my lead. I decide to farm a little bit and then switch out to Vigoroth. He gets the Body Slam off first. I bring in Lanturn, farm a little bit more. I bring in Fortress. Graveler comes in. I farm out Graveler, but then Venusaur comes and I just cannot get to the move. And with that Frenzy Plant, that is it for round 2. Again, I think I could have played round 2 just slightly differently, and I could have taken this round. Round 3, I'm up against Maverick. I use Vigoroth, Noctowl, and Lanturn again. Stick to Noctowl as my lead, and then I see that Magnezone and I know I'm in trouble. I immediately switch out to my Vigoroth, and he brings in Dustox, something I hadn't seen yet in that tournament. So I'm kind of wondering what that's going to be bringing. I decide to shield. It's a Silver Wind. I keep bringing the Body Slams. Another Silver Wind comes through. I shield it again. And he gets the boost. That boost saved that Dustox. There is no way that Dustox would have survived without that Silver Wind boost. Magnezone comes in. I bring in Lanturn instead, because either way is not a good situation for me. I get to a Psychic on Noctowl, a little bit of lag here. It's not very effective, but it's better than a Sky Attack would be, and then I get to another Sky Attack. And I just eke that first round by. Round 2, I decide to try out Vespiquen, but I lead my Vigoroth. I try to get a couple counters in. I switch into Lanturn. He brings in Vigoroth. And then I see that Magnezone. I know that's not a great situation. I shield whatever's coming. Try to get as many body slams off as I can. And then at this point, I'm kind of realizing my other Pokemon is my own Vespiquen and a Lantern. I use my Thunderbolt, which gets shielded, and then I'm in trouble because I don't have any shields left, and I'm about to get hit with an electric move. The smarter play would have been to pull Vigoroth back at some point and to save it for Magnezone because I knew I needed it in order to be that counter. For the last match of the round, I decided to switch it up and have Forretress on my team. I lead Vigoroth. He brings in that Dustox again. I switch into Forretress. I decide to take the Silver Wind and just start spamming fast moves as fast as I can. I'm not seeing the boost this time. I decide to go with a Heavy Slam for some neutral damage. I shield this one. One mistake this round was definitely wasting energy on this Heavy Slam. I definitely could have just farmed down the Dustox. The Dustox goes down, Magnezone comes in. I don't have enough energy to get to a ground move, unfortunately, because I burned energy to get to those Heavy Slams. But I do have Vigoroth. I use a shield here. And then Victory Bell, and then I just mean to tap to look at my team. I do not mean to switch into Lantern. That was a fatal mistake. I should have just kept in Vigoroth, but I think I was in trouble either way because Victory Bell would have taken down Vigoroth, and then I wouldn't have had a great counter to Magnezone. So I think Maverick had this round either way. In round 4, I'm up against Dark Robot. I bring in kind of similar teams. I lead Lantern. I've also got Vigoroth and Forretress in the back. I bring in my own Vigoroth. I take Lantern out. He shields that Body Slam. I decide to take that one, let that come through. So he's one shield down. I've got shield advantage. He lets Vigoroth go down. I've got Lantern, just kind of dealing a lot of damage. With Water Gun, I shield Rock Blast, and then I continue to farm that down. And then Venusaur comes in. I decide to let Lantern go down. He used a bunch of energy with that Sludge Bomb, but I've got Forretress. And I know that nothing Venusaur is really going to be doing is going to really be able to hurt Forretress very much. So that was a really quick round 1. In the next round, I switch it up a bit. I decide to lead the Bee. And this is a really favorable matchup for me. Because I know those Body Slams are going to hurt, but not too bad. And I can get to these X Scissors just as fast as Vigoroth can get to Body Slams. I bring in Lantern to do a ton of damage. I decide to let the Rock Blast come through. I farm down that Golem. And then I see a Munchlax, which is pretty adorable. But a Hydro Pump is going to be doing a ton of damage to it. And then I take it out with a Thunderbolt. I get a Charge TM out of that, which I was pretty psyched about. And that was round 4. And then round 5 up against Kuyozo. I decide to leave Fortress, but he has Vigoroth, so I bail into Vespiquen. I tank the Body Slam. And then I go for the X-Scissor, but he switched into Noctowl, and then I'm kind of switch-locked into it. I decide to shield one Sky Attack, see if I can get to one Rock move to try to force a shield, and I do. So I can at least get that out of Vespiquen. And then see if I can get Vigoroth to take down the Noctowl. Which it does. So neither one of us have a shield at this point. He burns a Body Slam to take down my Vigoroth, and then I've got a Fortress. And he's able to take me out with Graveler. So I switch things up. I lead Fortress again. He leads Vigoroth again. I have a bit of trouble switching out, but then I go into Vigoroth. I shield to keep Vigoroth alive. But I figure Vigoroth can survive one more, and then I can get to that Body Slam really quickly. And I burn one of his shields. I decide to switch into the Mirror. Takes me a moment to do it though. And then that was probably a wasted shield, but I was afraid of an Earthquake. And then I don't risk waiting for an Earthquake. I get to the Heavy Slam. He burns energy getting to the Sky Attack here, and then I'm able to get to a Thunderbolt. So here we're 1-1. I go and I switch into Vigoroth this time as my lead, so we both have Vigoroth leads. I get to Body Slam first. His Vigoroth goes down first. I've got a Body Slam, so I'm tapping pretty quick on it. It's not very effective on Graveler, but I do get that damage off. And then I just try to farm down that Graveler as quickly as possible. And then here I think it just came down to luck of the Pokemon chosen. And that's GG's on round 5. I ended up taking 3 points out of the 5 rounds. Maverick, who I ended up playing during this tournament, took first place with being undefeated, which was pretty awesome. This definitely wasn't my best tournament. I made a lot of mistakes, but I think I ended up learning from them, and making these videos is definitely great in my reflection process. Thanks for watching.